Hi guys, what's up? I'm Christina from Sermondo. Welcome to our latest episode of Sermondo Talks. Today I have a special guest for you. He's a well-known face in the Amazon PPC industry. Sean Smith, founder of the PPC AMS Accelerator. Let's say hi. So I'm here today with Sean Smith. He's living in Chicago and he's the founder of the PPC AMS Accelerator. Hi, nice to have you here.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So in one sentence, what is the PPC AMS Accelerator?
Sure. So the PPC AMS Accelerator, it's a training program. So it's an online training program that teaches Amazon sellers how to increase the sales and profit of their PPC and their AMS or sponsored brands.
And how long have you been around for?
Well, in the industry, I've been around for over 3 years. The accelerator's been around for a little more than a year. And I've been doing Amazon PPC management for 3 years, I think 3.5 years. So been around for a little bit, kind of back in the day when there was only one software and now there's a lot of software. Total different industry from when I started for sure.
Yeah, and also a lot of courses, a lot of gurus, a lot of tools. So
a lot of everything. Seems like.
Yeah, really. Do you have your own experience with Amazon FBA?
That's a really good question. I do. So the way that I got into the PPC management side of it was I started doing, they call it retail arbitrage, where you would go to Walmart or you would go to these brick and mortar stores, and then you would use the Amazon seller app and you would find out if you could buy it and then resell it. And so that's kind of how I got started. I started there. Then I started doing online arbitrage where you buy stuff from sites and flip it. Then I did book arbitrage where you do textbooks and things like that, go to thrift stores. And then I did private label and wholesale. So I did all of them beforehand. Yeah, dude, yeah, it's crazy. I don't have an Amazon business now because basically what happened was, because I was doing SEO at the time. So I was in digital marketing for a software company. And a lot of people wanted to hire me to help their Amazon businesses because of my digital marketing background. Because I noticed in the Amazon space, a lot of people were good at getting products in inventory, but they weren't good at the digital side. And so that's where I kind of came in and filled a gap, I guess you could say. And so I, my consulting work started making more profit than my Amazon FBA. And so what I did was I just kind of had this, fork in the road, and I decided to liquidate my Amazon business and just focus on the consulting full time. And then that's kind of how it started. So yeah, I did have an Amazon business a long time ago, back in a far, far away land.
Really good. So you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
If I was an Amazon seller and I would participate in your program, what can I expect?
You can expect to get results. That's what you can expect. You can expect
what
results.
What kind of results?
It's a good question. So the results do vary. I would say the results are really dependent on why the person joins the program. So we do have case studies. I was on a call this week with one of our students, and in 8 months, he took his Amazon business from $15K a month to $150K a month. So he 10 times his Amazon business with just PPC because the PPC sales helped with the organic. And, he was doing in PPC sales, he was doing 10K a month at a 50% A cost. And then 8 months later, it's 75K a month at a 10% A cost. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a real 10X story, which I think that might be the only one that I have right now. But I would say it really depends. And then we had an 8-figure seller doing a couple $1,000,000 a month. And he really joined because of time. He wanted to learn the bulk files. He needed some software to help him out. He was doing everything manually, clicking on everything. And he found out that, he went from spending, I think 4 hours a week doing one process to 1 hour a week. And for him, that's a lot of money because he's the CEO of a company that makes $2 million a month. So his hourly rate is really high. And so if he's doing these tedious tasks and he can save that time, it actually saves him a lot of money. So, in terms of results, it depends on why people join, but I would say those are a couple reasons. The main reason is because they want to, I would say the primary reason people get into it is to, kind of increase their PPC and AMS sales. at a good ACOS, but also to like get good at building. Another reason is building systems. So it varies depending on what people want. I would say those are the kind of the primary reasons. Is one, to get like to increase those sales, like Manish, to cut down on the time that they do it because with scaling it, and then to have a system, like a proven system that they can just like, implement, and that they know it provides like a solid result.
As we said before, there are a lot of providers out there right now, right? Like
Yep.
selling courses, training programs, whatever. So, and they all say that they will help the Amazon sellers like improve their PPC, get their sales up. I don't know, learn how to fly. So why?
I haven't heard that one. Learn how to fly. I like it.
I'm pretty sure that's the next step.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
So why should I choose your program instead of another one? What do you think is your unique selling proposition?
My unique selling proposition is maybe you shouldn't choose my program. Maybe you should do your research and go to my Facebook profile. Look at the results that I get for people. It's all about, I think a big thing is it's about the business owner making the best decision for their business. And so they need to do their due diligence. And so, I would say our unique selling proposition, it's really in the results and like the facts. So like, our unique, it speaks for itself, right? Like we have students who talk about how we do really well for them. We don't get a lot of like bad reviews and things like that. So I think that the results just speak for themselves. So what we do is if people are like, hey, why should we choose you? We just say, take a look at, my social posts. I can refer you to people who are in my program. You can literally get on a phone call with someone who's gotten results with my training program and talk to them. So, we do a lot of like, we go kind of the extra mile to kind of prove to people that we can provide like tangible, real value for them out the gate. So I would say that's it. And I think another thing that kind of differentiates us is the approach. So we have a certain approach. So we want to get people results pretty quickly, like within 48 hours. So we kind of outline what you should do in our training program. Like sometimes I think courses, they'll just kind of like, you'll buy it and then you have all access to all this content and you don't know what to do with it. But what we do is, we give a roadmap. Like these two videos get the most results for all of our students is what we've seen. Go through those two videos. You'll have campaigns up in a couple of hours and then you'll start seeing results. Then go on to this video. This is the one that got the best results. So we do kind of give a roadmap to results, and it makes it a lot easier for them because when you go into a course and you see all these videos, it can be a little overwhelming. So having like that, having a roadmap to results, I think is really, really helpful. I think that's a big USP for us as well.
I think it's pretty good that you do rely on social proof because so many people are scared that they get scammed, that they pay hundreds of dollars for the course and not getting anything in return. So I think it's pretty nice that you give them the chance to speak to former clients of yours. And speaking of clients, are you working with clients from like all around the world? Are people from all around the world participating in your program?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy actually. So like it's an extremely international population, extremely international. So, I really didn't know what to expect when I started the program. In my agency, since I'd been doing it for a few years, I noticed that I would get a lot of clients from Australia, and Israel. And those were it was like US, Australia, Israel were kind of the people that I mainly worked with in terms of like my clients. With my students, there's a lot of different people from a lot of different places. There's like, oh man, it's nuts how international it is. And it's kind of cool. I actually like it a lot because it's just cool to scan through like we have a Facebook group for the program to scan through and see all the different names and be like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's hard to celebrate holidays though, because like, when you do an international population, it's like I had a coaching call on July 4th, right?
Yeah.
And, some of the US folks might be like, hey, you should, that's a holiday, but like, it's only a US holiday. And, the US is only one of like a couple hundred countries or whatever it is. And so, I was like, it's hard. So I'll just like, I still had the call because I was like, I do live in the US and stuff like that. So, but I was like, I have so many people from all over the place. It gets tricky. So it's fun. I love it, man. I love having people from all over the world. I think it makes our program really special to me, and it makes it more fun. I get to learn, like I get to learn about people's different countries and stuff, and it opens my mind, So yeah, it's pretty international population. We've got people from a lot of different countries, which I absolutely love.
So basically everyone can buy it and the whole program is in English, I assume?
It is in English. Yeah. So that, some people, but luckily I've gotten good feedback from people who are like non-native English speakers, but like they have a decent proficiency. Because in the program, I talk pretty slow just because I did that on purpose so that, just easy. And then they can speed it up if they want to. But I got good feedback from people from different places that were like, hey, you talk really slow. So it makes it easy for me to kind of like process things, especially since it's really technical.
Yeah, with all the special words and everything.
The special words.
The special word. Me as a German, for me it was hard in the beginning to like catch up on all those phrases and words and abbreviations that I've never seen before. But yeah, it's good that you took care of that.
I had to.
And also, I think in this industry, it's not only about what your clients expect from you, but also what do you expect from your clients when they purchase your program?
Yeah. So what do I expect from the people that join my program? Like the students, the clients, I would say I expect them to implement the systems and processes, to actually to do it, and to show up to like calls, and, to do everything that they can. They made the investment. So now it's on them to do it. Like I purchase courses and I purchase online stuff. And you know what? If I don't go through it, I can't hold the course creator responsible for me not taking action. You know what I mean? Like it's my fault if I don't show up to the calls. If my business is going down or whatever, like something on my end is going down, and I sit back and I reflect on why, and I'm like, well, I haven't showed up to the coaching calls in like 2 months. I haven't been through the program. I haven't looked at a video for a month or two, so then I need to sit down and be like, hey, I want to start showing up to the calls. I want to start going through the videos again, kind of like IDing the problems in my business, and then going into the program, kind of finding out which video works for me. So in terms of expectations, I just really expect them to like actually implement it. Because if you don't implement it, it just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you do when you and the client are not agreeing on something? So, for example, you say that one method is the best, and then you have a client and she says, no, but I read on Facebook that doing it the whole other way is way better, and gives you that kind of feedback. Like, how do you deal with that?
First, I usually kind of listen and ask a few questions. So I try to dig, because sometimes the reason that a person says something is not the actual reason that they say something. There's like this underlying piece. It's kind of like when people tell me like they just want to make more money. That's not the real motivation for their business. Usually they want to take care of their family and friends. So you got to like push them to go a little deeper. Like you have to like, because the real reason, and I've seen like a lot, like the real reason is not always the real reason. You have to like be like a psychologist or whatever. You have to go deeper into why they're doing things, because then you get the true motivational drivers. So I would probably ask a few more questions just to find out, like, why did you start looking for this type of content? What motivated you to get out there? Like, why wouldn't you just focus on my stuff and, rather than go out and look at the market? And then just kind of diagnose and then go deeper into the answers that they give me, and kind of like give them feedback and just listen more about why. And then I would come up with my diagnosis. You know what I mean? Then I'd be like, hey, he'll be like, hey, maybe the reason that the person's looking around is because maybe they're not getting the results that they want from my program. But then I would ask them, all right, that's fair. And then I would ask like, hey, what type of results are you looking for versus what you're getting? And then I also ask them like, what criteria did they use to evaluate the content that they ingested? A lot of people like, they'll just read posts, or they'll just read content and then just be like, hey, let's do this, versus evaluating who wrote the post. Who wrote this post? Like, does this person have a track record of being good at that thing? You know what I mean? Who is this person?
Yeah.
So like, dude, I'm a sucker for like going straight, go down the funnel and find out who that person is. You need to know who the person that created the content, what they do and their background, if you want to make really good decisions. So that's what I always ask, like, does this person specialize in this? what type of results do you know that they've gotten? Have you talked to this person? What kind of filtering process have you used? So I think those are some ways that I approach it.
Okay, and if the client, for example, finds some method on some blog in the internet and decides that he wants to pursue this and tells you that he's not happy with your course, I don't know if that has ever happened before, but how would you react to that?
Yeah, I haven't really had that one come up too much. I'll be honest.
Very good.
I haven't really, dealt with that situation very often, if at all. And now that I think about it, usually people don't go from me to someone else. They might not stay with me, which happens rare. Like our refund rates are really low, under 1%. And so I would say that if somebody said, hey, I want to go with something else, I would just learn about why, what is about their processes. And then if they prove me wrong, I'll be like, dude, I mean, that guy's better. That person's better. Go for it. That human has done what you wanted. Go for it. If they're like, hey, if they come to me and say, hey, there's this, they use bid management with Campaign Manager or something, then I'd be like, that's weird. Cause we do bulk files and cause it scales. And so then I'd be like, dude, why do you want to do Campaign Manager over bulk files? I don't really understand the logic behind it. How is it going to make things faster and better for you? But if they were like, hey, this person teaches, I don't know, this specific method on bulk files, or a method that I feel like could be really good, then I would say, go for it, go test it and then come back to me. When you go there, I don't want people to just leave and not come back. Even if I don't work with them, if they go test it, dude, I'd be like, dude, let me know what results you get. Because if this person's doing really good job of getting results for others, I want to know what they're doing, because I always want to stay educated as well.
Oh yeah, this is actually, it's very good that you're saying this, because this is my next question. How do you stay updated, and do you update the program? And if yes, where do you get your information?
Yeah, so I do update the program. I do it based on so Amazon, they change a lot. The advertising changes a lot. Which is not uncommon to any internet advertising platform. Facebook advertising changes a lot. AdWords changes a lot. Honestly, if a person tried to update everything based on the new feature, they wouldn't have any hair, because they're always, it's true, man. They're always updating stuff. They're testing stuff. It's just geez, guys, come on. And they don't tell you, it just pops up and you're like, oh, great. Now I'm dealing with this. And so,
thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah. He's watching, Stranger Things, whatever. I don't know if you saw that post. Yeah. He's binging on Stranger now, but, eating Egos, you know what I'm saying? Which is totally fine. I mean, he deserves it. But so I would say hold on, what was the question? Let me think here. So it was oh yeah, how do I stay? So okay. Is it well, the brain, it like goes in different directions. Sometimes it's hard.
Okay, take your time. Take your time. Yeah. How do you stay updated?
Yeah, how do I? So like for example, in November they released like product targeting and category targeting, and I really like that. Like I like the feature itself. Like I thought that provided a lot of value because you could target categories and get sales and generate traffic. When they released like bids by placement and things like that, some of my students tested it. And, they didn't get great results. I know some people say that they've gotten good results, but, I kind of thought through how to test these things, and it can be hard in terms of like, there's so many variables, especially when you have an established account. I won't go into the details, but sometimes I find it really hard. So I do keep it up to date, and I publish, like if I don't release a video on a certain feature and people ask about it, I'll publish a quick video on why I didn't use it, some tests I ran, and give them data around like why I didn't, like why I only do down only bids versus fixed bids or up and down, right? So I do stay up to date, but I also understand that, Amazon's going to constantly release features. So it's my job to be like, as kind of the expert, that's what people buy my training program for, as like a platform expert. So my job is to be like, hey guys, like don't worry about this feature too much, and maybe don't test it. Cause usually the people that test it first are like the guinea pigs or whatever, maybe try to find some more data and things like that. So how do I stay up to date? My students really keep me up to date. So that's one data source. The accounts that I work with help me stay up to date in the clients that I work with. And I'll be honest, those are kind of the two main sources, is my accounts and my students. And those are kind of the two main sources of like staying up to date on stuff. And I'm trying to think if there's any other like sources. Not too, those are kind of the main ones. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any free resources that you recommend to your, how would I say, like your students?
Free resources to my students. It's hard. Like free is like never free, right? Because there's time, there's time. Like if you read a post and, it comes from like, let's say you read a really long post in like a free group, but it's not great content, then, it's not free. You might've just lost an hour. And if you bill yourself, you should be billing yourself at an hourly rate if you're a business owner. So, nothing's really ever free, just because of, you have to take into consideration time is money, right? So you have to constantly be like, so what are my hourly rates? If I spend an hour here, how do I need to spend an hour? So free resources, I would say like there's the Brian Johnson's group, the PPC troubleshooting group is really good. That's kind of like the main community that started. In terms of like free resources from me, myself, I would just look at my social posts. I mean, there's a lot of like student results and things like that, but and then like just my news feed, I guess would be a good one on Facebook. I don't do a lot of like publishing in terms of that, just because of time. And so I would say those are kind of the best free resources that I could kind of think of.
Okay, thank you. Then we come to the fun part. Personal questions. What do you like least about your job?
Oh, what? Oh boy. This is one of those
Getting straight to the hard stuff.
Yeah. So like when this is like one of those questions, how like when you do interviews, like those questions where you're like supposed to answer like what's your weakness? I'm a perfectionist. Like like interview techniques. I'm really working on it. I just want everything to be perfect. They teach you these answers, right? Like so I don't really do that. So like I would say the least man, I don't think about the least part too much.
That's good. I also don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think about it too much. The least favorite part of my job is dang, dude, this is hard. I think that, I guess like the least part of my favorite, I guess like the kind of hard for me is like, I'm not really good at like doing this. I guess I am good at doing the same thing over and over again, but I like a lot of variety. And, with businesses, people want consistency. So like doing calls every Monday, every Thursday, like I do them, but like, I'm pretty like, I like to like, I know some people who love like a structure and stuff, but the way that I grew up, living with my mom, we moved around and like, it wasn't a consistent schedule. So like, I think that's been a hard part for me, is like trying to be like that consistency. I mean, I do it because it builds trust and things like that. But, I think that's a tricky one for me.
Okay. I mean, that's good. I mean, if that's the thing that you least like about your job, then you can consider yourself pretty lucky.
I hope so, man. I mean, I do, that's it though. Yeah.
Okay. What was your biggest achievement in your career or in your personal life? Just your biggest achievement ever?
Dude, that's really hard. Okay. All right. I know, like, can I do 2? Is that cool with you?
Okay. Yeah. 2, but 2 maximum. Yeah. Just 2.
I know, like trying to bend the rules a little bit. I like to do that. It's like, I'm an entrepreneur, you like to push the boundaries a little bit. Just how I operate. But I would say number 1 is, I'd say the number 1 for me is like getting results for other people. I really like that a lot. I like seeing people get real results, because it's like I was able to build something that can like build wealth for somebody that they can then, that their family and friends can benefit from. And so like, that's what I want for myself. So to be able to give that to somebody else is like super fulfilling. Like when I hear like, dude, when I heard so one of my students, Manish, he told me about the whole 10X thing on the coaching call. I was like, I mean, what do you do? Like, you're speechless. You're like, wow, like I cannot believe that. And, I've had other students kind of like tell me this stuff too. So like, it leaves me speechless to be able to do, because I didn't have any expectations on the type of results I could get, and they've exceeded it. I would say that's like my number one favorite. Like that's what like gives me a lot of energy, is when I hear about the results that I get for other people. It gives me a lot of energy. And then in my personal life, my biggest achievement, I would say like recently, it's kind of like working out and stuff, and like being really health conscious. So like I'm a little, I'm a data guy. So like, I mean, like to the core. And so like, I measure my calories, I measure my macros. No, it's true. Like I change it based on the type of physique or like whatever I'm looking for. And then I have spreadsheets of my workouts. And so like, making sure that I make my health a priority is a really big achievement for me recently.
I was going to say, you look pretty, what's the word, buff?
Yeah. And so like I hired a nutritionist, and, when I started on the journey of like kind of gaining, cause I wanted to gain weight, like, I was 176, and now, I'm 200 pounds now. And so like, so about 25 pound increase. And so like, that's been really cool. And, it just shows me like how I can change myself, like how far I can go. So then it makes me think of like, wow, how like much further can I go? Like that's what results show me. Results show me like how far I can go, but then it also shows me like, if I can do this in this time period, dude, imagine what's possible in the next time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Now my favorite question. If you could hire any famous person in the world to work for you or with you or be your boss, who would that be and why?
Oh, wow. These are like super hard. Oh man, who would it be, dude? If I could hire, to be my boss or work with me, I'm thinking of my mentors, right? Like my mentors, probably like, who's the guy that gives me like, cause I got mentors that give me goosebumps, like guys who are like, it would be, man, it's going to be probably, hold on. I would say, I would say Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Woo! That's an answer.
Yeah. Dude, that guy changed the world, man. Or he at least changed the US. I don't know if he changed the world, but he fought like that guy, dude, he's done some stuff, and he didn't have a lot of, he did it from like grassroots, and like, he just made changes. And so like, I would say that's the guy that I'd really like, cause I'd love to like pick his brain. Like, man, that guy is just powerful. So yeah, I think that'd be my guy.
I think that's so far my favorite answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. We had Jeff Bezos, when I wrote down the question, I was like, okay, I'm sure everyone will say Jeff Bezos because it makes sense to have him work for you or with you. We had Kim Kardashian because she has such a great reach. We had Gary Vaynerchuk, but I think your argument why you chose Martin Luther King is so nice, like that he changed the whole nation and the world, I think. Yeah.
Money is great, but when you can make that type of change without money, come on. That means you're doing something that's like almost like it's almost kind of like on a level, like you're changing people's, like he was, he talked to the presidents, he wasn't known for being a wealthy guy. He was known for like being able to make changes. And so like, if you can do that without those type of like crazy resources, like being like having all this money and stuff, it's kind of like another level of like, I don't know what to say, like strength or like skill, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Okay, then we're already at the last question. Can you name 3 tips that you would give to any Amazon seller out there? It doesn't have to be related to PPC or advertising, just in general.
I would say the number one is probably like, I'll do based on like what I've seen. number one is going to be use bulk files. Try to, if you can, you don't want to completely eliminate Campaign Manager. I like the graph, and there are some things, but, try to really get into learning bulk files. I think that's a big one. That one's massive, especially if you plan to be on the platform, any significant time, couple of years. Number two would be, I would say, what's another one? Keep refining your vision for your company. So this is more like general stuff. Make sure you have a good, strong vision and a good purpose. Just because you don't want to lose the reasons why you built the business, because then it becomes mundane. It can become like a job. I've met people who think that being an entrepreneur is like a job now because, it's the same stuff, right? And so having a strong vision and a good reason why, helps you wake up in the morning and keeps your heart in the game. You want to keep your heart in the game, man, because it's life is a long journey. And then I would say the third one is, oh man, this is a tricky one. We did the bulk files. I think that's the number one for that. And then get good at building systems. So number three would be try to think more systems oriented, because it's really interesting. A lot of Amazon sellers, it's kind of sometimes it's their first business, or maybe it's not their first business, but it's still kind of an online business. And Amazon does a great job of building systems for you. They do fulfillment. They do they have so much systems on the back end. So what happens is Amazon sellers can really scale without a lot of people. You can scale your business without a lot of people. So when you have something else doing the systems for you, it's hard for you to think in terms of systems, right? And so when you get to a point where you want to hit true scale, you want to hire people, you want to do all that stuff, you have to be responsible for building systems. And so, if you're looking to scale an Amazon business, start thinking systems oriented. And that's going to help you with, hiring, leveraging humans and technology to scale versus you just doing it on your own. Because I've seen people go really far with Amazon businesses with just really small amounts of people. But if you want to build a larger business, you have to have a systems approach to things and processes. Okay,
perfect. Is there any last thing you want to say or give a shout out to someone or?
I'm going to give a shout out to you, Christina, for having me on. So
thanks
for reaching out to me, and thanks for, taking the time and energy to, spend it with me. So I really, really appreciate it.
I can only give that back. Thank you for taking the time and to answer all my weird questions and allow our users to get to know you and your program.
You guys have good questions.
Thanks.
It's pretty good.
I think I need to change them from time to time because my interview partners will adapt to them. So, but I'm glad that they still work.
They do. Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah. So yeah, great job. Threw me off. That's for sure. In a good way.
Okay. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful day and rest of the week, and keep on crushing it. How you say it in the Amazon world. And
it's the Gary Vaynerchuk world. Crush it.
Yeah. And we'll talk soon.
Hi. Bye, Christina. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks. All right, guys, that was my interview with Sean. I hope you learned some valuable things about his training program. You can find any information about that as well as hundreds of other service providers on sermondo.com. I put the link in the description for you to check out, and I see you guys soon.